just after having this huge celebration about this Power Rangers video game that's coming out that I'm super excited for, the more Power Rangers giveth, the more Power Rangers taketh away. What is the possible future for Power Rangers? This is actually a topic I've been thinking about for a while now, because in 2023, Power Rangers went hard for its 30th anniversary. We had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always special that I personally felt put the Power Rangers franchise back in the minds of people who haven't thought about the franchise for a while, as well as being something new for Power Ranger fans and 90s kids. Also, Hasbro dropped some specific 30th anniversary Power Rangers action figures, and other collectibles popped up as well. Then we had Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, using the same cast as Dino Fury, having a shorter season of 10 episodes released to everyone at the same time, and being slightly more intense than usual, that it was no longer on Nickelodeon and only on Netflix, and got a lot of fans excited. But even enjoying Cosmic Fury, there was always the question, is this a season finale or a series finale? And that's because there had been talks for the past few years about Hasbro working with Netflix to create a Power Rangers shared movie and TV universe under Jonathan Entwistle, which many saw as a possible reboot for the franchise. Then things started happening. Once and Always came out, there's been no talks of a follow-up. Cosmic Fury comes out, there's been no talk of a new series. The comics current run is ending. They're still going to possibly do Power Ranger comics in the future, but this current run is stopping. They have Playmates going to be doing the toys now. Lightning Collection is paused. And now there's even a report that I must make clear is not from Hasbro officially and not from Netflix officially, but it is being reported that supposedly Netflix is no longer moving forward with the planned Power Rangers reboot. So if that ends up being true, this goes back to the question, what is the possible future for Power Rangers? So what does this mean for Power Rangers? As of right now, as it's been for a little bit right now, it's still on pause. We're not going to get any new Power Rangers movie or television show until somebody comes in and wants to do a new Power Rangers movie or television show. So that means that either someone is going to have to come in with an idea to pitch and then go around to the multiple studios to pitch it to see if someone picks up, or one of the studios is going to have to come in and go, we want to do something with the Power Rangers brand, and they work with Hasbro. Hasbro still has the license to the Power Rangers brand. They're just looking for someone to make the Power Rangers content, kind of similar to how Hasbro has its connection with Paramount when it comes to Transformers. Paramount makes the Transformers movies. They've done the live action ones. They got the animated one, Transformers 1, coming out. So Hasbro says, go do that. You handle that. We'll give you some notes here and there of what we want to do in regards to the brand. But someone basically heads that up. So I'm assuming that that's what they want with Power Rangers. They want some studio to be like, we want to have the rights to use the name. We're going to create a thing. You just give us the notes to see if this aligns up with you. And then we move forward with making a Power Rangers movie or show with the Hasbro brand on it. Now, who's going to do that? That's the big question. If Netflix was heading it up, they would more than likely end up on Netflix. We would not have gotten a theatrical release of a Power Rangers movie, or at the very least, they would maybe do like one of those short theatrical runs that they do. But they usually do save that for like their movies they want to get nominated for Oscars and stuff. Most of the movies made by Netflix end up on Netflix. So it's possible that if another studio comes along, one that actually puts movies out in theaters, then the next Power Rangers movie could actually end up in theaters. Say if like Universal or Warner Brothers or Sony or Paramount or Disney, you want to come back? Or a smaller company could come up with the idea, the concept, and get another studio to distribute it, and that ends up on the big screen. That would be cool. Now, of course, the other possibility is that one of the other streaming services could pick it up and say, hey, this is going to be a new original movie or original series for us, and then we end up seeing it on Peacock or Paramount Plus or Max or Disney Plus or Tubi. Tubi? Power Rangers and Tubi original. You know what? That's crazy, and I wouldn't put it past them. I would not be surprised if Power Rangers became a Tubi original. But of course, this all depends on if somebody wants to do it. Now, if this was 2020, when everybody was trying to have a streaming service, I think everyone would be trying to scoop Power Rangers up, because another franchise, another IP that they could have as part of their streaming service to try to lure more people to buy a subscription, I think they would have been all about it. But given how things are in the streaming service business nowadays, it might be a little bit tougher for somebody to want to invest in a new IP, especially if they don't think that that IP is going to bring a lot of new subscribers. And truth be told, the problem is even the case with theaters. Who is going to be willing to take the risk to say, let's make a Power Rangers movie, put it out in theaters, and think that that's going to bring a crowd? Obviously, it's something that can happen. Obviously, it's something I would like to see happen. It's more of a matter if a studio that's willing to put some money into it is going to see that happen or thinks that that's going to happen. Then, of course, there's the question of what someone will do with Power Rangers if they were to take it on. Will they make just a movie? Will they make just a TV show? Will they make a combination of the two? Will they be shared universes or different universes between the movie and TV show? Will they want to make it for a younger audience? Or do they want to try to make something for the older audiences who grew up on Power Rangers, try to hit the nostalgia? Will they reboot it completely? Will they continue the storyline that we've had for the past 30 years? It's a lot to have to think about just by getting this license. With some other franchises, you just grab it, make something and go. With Power Rangers, you got a lot of choices to make. And there's pros and cons with all of the options. So for example, they could do what they've always done. They could just grab a Sentai, make their American or New Zealand footage or whatever, mix around it, and put a new season out. And that could be it. Just do that formula that's been going on for several years, just under somebody else, the same way that Saban did it, the same way that Nickelodeon did it, the same way that Disney did it, the same way Fox Kids did it. Back when Saban got Power Rangers back and was putting it on Nickelodeon, it was on Nick at like noon or 8 in the morning. And this was before we had all the streaming services that we have now. And then when Power Rangers would end up eventually on Netflix, it would be like several months later. And then of course there was the whole issue with international stations being able to show later episodes of Power Rangers before we got them, so a lot of stuff got spoiled. But now if you have a studio come in, obviously they're going to either have a streaming service or a connection to a streaming service, so they can do something really easy where they can say, hey, it's going straight to that streaming service as soon as it comes out. Or maybe it airs on TV, but if it's on a TV station that's connected to a streaming service, like say if it's on a Universal TV service, they could be like, it airs on TV as well as it's going to be on Peacock. So I feel like the distribution of it could end up actually being better, and it being on a streaming service might bring some new eyeballs to watch it because it's just accessible there that maybe would not have tuned in to 8 a.m. on a Saturday on Nickelodeon to watch it. So this could actually work in his favor if you just want to do the same thing as you've always done, just aim it for that niche audience. They're the hardcore people are going to come in and check it out. And then maybe with your new distribution system, get some new eyeballs that maybe would not have seen it before. Or you can go the Cosmic Fury approach, which is you still use some Sentai footage, like what they did with the Zords, but then everything else is original. So it's more original footage than you used before. And then of course, there is the option to just get the Sentai out completely and do all original footage. Now, I do think that's obviously a challenge because that means that now you're going to have to rely on yourself to make the Zords and the weapons and the monsters and everything else. But in the days of CG or other technologies, so we're gonna see some AI monsters, some AI Zords. But obviously with the technology that we have today, it is definitely possible for someone to be able to make a fully original Power Rangers team, suits, Zords, monsters and all. But is someone willing to do that, especially if they know that they can go right over to Japan, grab some footage that's already done, and put it in. And because the way that Japan is doing Super Sentai footage now is actually looking a lot more seamless between our footage and their footage than it looked before back in the day. So it's very possible to keep using that formula, but we also end up in a situation, and particularly with studios, where they want to own everything. The more IP they have and the more they own that IP, the better. So they may not want to share someone else's concept. They might want to make a concept 100% theirs because they own it 100% theirs and they can make all the profits 100% theirs. And that's just talking about TV show. Now, obviously, if you do a Power Rangers movie, you're going to have to make that all original. And then with that, deciding if you're going to make a movie that's going to be a movie straight to streaming service, straight to television, or if it's going to be a big screen theatrical thing. Then you have to decide how you want to do the continuity. Power Rangers has 30 years of history, which is great and challenging because you have the challenge of tapping into a new audience, pleasing a nostalgia audience, and making a new audience feel like they don't have to do a lot of work or homework to get into whatever the new thing is because it does have a history with something from the past. Everyone goes through it. This is not just a Power Rangers problem, it's a problem all around, but it is something that Power Rangers have to think about, especially if you want to keep aiming for younger people as your target demographic, but you want to keep referencing things that were made years, in some cases, a decade before they were even born. And then on the flip side, somebody that you're trying to cater to because they've watched Power Rangers for 30 years, but then you keep going, but it's a kid's show. It's a confusing thing. That's why I've always been the argument of I think there should be two paths of Power Rangers at this point. I think you should make something brand new for new audiences that get them tapped in without any prior Power Rangers knowledge. And that can be aimed for a younger audience. That can be silly, that can be goofy, that can be funny. And then you have sort of a legacy Power Rangers series, movies, specials, whatever, kind of like What's in Always, but even go a little bit deeper into that. You can use original cast members. Just like with the comics, you can have Mighty Morphin be the center of it all because that's the go-to for the casual fan. And then from there, you can introduce other teams through that. And with Once and Always, you had that opportunity because you have Min. Min is brand new to the Power Rangers world. So any Power Rangers that she meets is going to be new to her and needs explanation. So that way, any audience member that's watching and gets a Power Ranger they don't know will then get that explanation right there and there. If they have to go into space and team up with Selwyn Ward, first black leader in the Power Rangers, then maybe that will be the opportunity to be like, well, let me tell you about the Power Rangers in space. If they have to travel through time to meet the Time Force Rangers, then they can explain what they're all about. Use some stock footage, do a backstory, boom, done. We get to go. Now everyone's caught up. You don't have to go watch 40 episodes of something to know what's going on. And that can be something that's a little bit more niche, a little bit more mature, because you know you're catering to people who grew up on this. I've also thought that the concept of a Force Awakens type of Power Rangers could possibly work. You know, we got men now. JJ has been referenced a couple of times. Why can't we have the daughter of this Ranger, the son of this Ranger, the nephew or niece of this Ranger? I know it's cliche, but it's an easy way to have a new Ranger team while still having them connect to the past, because that way you can still tap into a newer audience by saying, this is your team, but then to the older people be like, but hey, they're the sons and daughters and nieces and nephews of that team you grew up with. You know these folks, right? So come on in. Because the other option is you pull out the big red button, you press it, and all the Power Rangers of the past is gone, or at the very least nowadays will be in a multiverse somewhere, and then you just start completely from scratch. And truth be told, some studios are gonna maybe want to pick up the Power Rangers IP. That's probably what they're gonna want to do with it. They're probably gonna want to make a revision version of Mighty Morphin, cast a new Jason, Kimberly, Billy, Trini, Zach, Tommy, new cast members, just like what they did with the 2017 movie, and just start from scratch to make it their own, while obviously still playing off the Go-Go Power Rangers that people remember from the 90s. There is a theory that I have. I don't know if this is happening. I got no inside sources, but just hear me out. Transformers Rise of the Beast comes out. And at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, we find out that an organization wants to meet and possibly work with the Transformers, and that organization is G.I. Joe. And they've already announced that a new live action movie is going to be coming out, live action CG movie with Transformers and G.I. Joe together, a crossover movie. Those are both Hasbro properties. So hear me out. What if the new creative direction is we create a brand new Power Ranger team, we get new actors, they play the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers before that we know, but in today's age, new actors playing those characters, new Power Rangers, everything. And then at the end of that movie, someone comes in and goes, hey, we know about you Power Rangers and we like what you're doing. We need some help to save the world because y'all fight monsters from space. We got some space robot transforming cars. And we also got a terrorist organization with a Cobra commander. And we might need you to join up. And then that leads into a Transformers G.I. Joe Power Rangers crossover movie. I'd buy tickets. I'm just wondering if that's the case, because look, if I was Hasbro and I got all these franchises and I know there could possibly be a way they could all work together, I'd be eyeballing the MCU and the DCU and being like, okay, we can't have an HCU. I keep wanting to call it an HBCU because of Hasbro, but that's not what that stands for. I would not be surprised if they are not trying to create a universe that Power Rangers can connect with Transformers and G.I. Joe, but in order to do that, you need a brand new team to do that. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, I'm just saying I could see it happen. Then of course, there's the question of if it's going to stay live action. I know there's always some back and forth about this, but I personally would like to see Power Rangers do something animated. And I don't even care if it's anything from adult animation or anime style to straight up like Disney Junior, Nick Jr. Power Ranger babies. I don't care. I just would like to see what would happen in the world of Power Rangers if they had animation on their side, which means they could do anything they want. And that could be even if they wanted to continue the stories of the Power Ranger characters we know, if they wanted to do like an adaptation of the Boom comics. Because I saw that Ultraman trailer, the new Ultraman Rising, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is a thing? We're taking a Toku and making it a animated thing? I would just like to see it. I don't know what it would take to make that happen, but I would like to see that. Just once. I can see all of these things happening. And the thing is, at this point, man, I don't care. I don't care what they do with it. I just want something done. I don't care if you continue what we've had for the past 30 years or just start completely from scratch. Just somebody come in and do it. I understand that things break down. I understand that sometimes negotiations or deals don't pan out. But it's just wild to me that they made this whole big announcement. Jonathan Entwistle's coming in, and we got showrunners and this, that, and the other for like the past few years to now be told nothing's gonna happen. And that's how I felt after 2017. It's like, we got this movie, you probably could make some tweaks and make a stronger sequel. And they were like, nah, we're done. Sell it to Hasbro. Once and always, got people invested in Power Rangers again. Even people who haven't thought about Power Rangers for a while, could have been a great springboard to a new, more mature Power Rangers franchise, even if it was just a series of specials that could have introduced a bunch of different Ranger teams into it and get them all acquainted to make them more popular so you can have more toys and things based on them. And then maybe get some nostalgia. People be like, oh, I never saw that season. I can watch that now because it's available on Netflix, who took off almost all the Power Rangers seasons. But they're like, nope, not gonna do that. Then you have Cosmic Fury come out, you make freaking Zeta a Zenith Ranger, you do this whole thing. Done. You know, it's like there's been all these opportunities to be like, all right, we could springboard and start Power Rangers anew from here, whether continuing or doing something new. And it just seems like every single time it stops. I'm tired of it stopping. So I don't care at this point. Reboot it, continue it, new generation, same generation, multiverse, live action, animated, puppets, you know, animatronics, anime. I don't care how you do this thing. Stop motion, Spider-Verse it. I don't care. Just somebody say, I got Power Rangers and I'm going to invest in it and I'm not going to jump and bail ship the moment that it feels a little rocky. The moment this one thing doesn't make as much money, or the moment that this one thing doesn't interest me as much, I'm done with it. I'm just tired of I'm done with it. And that even includes when it's been sold off to Disney and back to Saban and to Hasbro and everything. I'm just tired of this poor franchise being passed around. I just want somebody to cradle it and be like, I got you, Power Rangers. I got you. We doing this together. And whatever comes out of that, I'll support it. Or there's also the option that Hasbro's like, we're done, and they just sell the whole thing off. Which, you know, you don't want to think that, but like, I can see that happening too. I can see Hasbro just being like, hey, someone gave us some money and want the whole thing. Bye. Everything, the whole brand, gone to somebody else. It's happened before. It could happen again. Yeah, man, there's a lot of options, but like I said, at the end of the day, man, I just want somebody to do something with it because I love this franchise and I want something to happen with it. I know part of it is because I love it, I collect it, I enjoy it, and I don't even know everything about Power Rangers. I made that very clear. Mighty Morphin is something that's strong for me. It meant a lot to me when that show debuted. I stuck with it as long as I did. And I just think that there's enough there to still make it a viable franchise. But I know the challenge that it has. I mean, you have some people who have been diehards with this franchise for so long, know its lore, know its history, know that it's currently a thing that's continuing to happen. And then you have other people who are like, that's the thing I grew up with in the 90s and I haven't looked at it since. And how do you take that franchise and make all those people happy? And in all honesty, you're not going to. At some point, someone's going to have to decide to aim for one or the other and then just go all in on it. If you want to cater to the hardcore fans, fine. Cater to the hardcore fans, make yourself stuff on the cheap, keep it niche, have fun with it, get a streaming service to pick it up, knock yourself out. If you want to try to attract mainstream audiences, if you want to go the Marvel route, fine. Break the chains of the past, do your thing, put it out there. Yes, there's going to be some videos of fanboys being like, what are you doing? But hey, at the end of the day, if you make a good product, someone just has to take a risk with this thing. 2017 took a risk, whether you liked it or not, which I think a lot of people did. It's funny to see how many people love it now. And it's like, oh my gosh, just make a sequel to it now. It's like, where were you in 2017? That's how you would have gotten your sequel. And I ain't calling no folks out because I ain't looking at usernames, but I'm pretty sure some of y'all were back in 2017 being like, oh, this piece of shit. And now you're all like, I wish it had a sequel. It was so good. Too late. You had your chance. But they got to do something, man, because I hate to break the news to you. If you're trying to ride Power Rangers off the nostalgia wave, the nostalgia train is making a lot of new stops and leaving some of their old stops. The 90s is starting to look ancient for some folks. 2000 and 2010s is nostalgia nowadays, man. So Power Rangers, if you want to do something, you got to do it fast, or you might have to up your nostalgia game to later seasons and start playing around in that, because you might have some 2000s kids or 2010 babies who look at Power Rangers from that era as their Power Rangers, and you may need to cater more to them now. You maybe need to go in that era. I don't know. All I know is I hope something happens for you. I hope somebody picks you up, dusts you off, puts you back out there again. I know in some cases, I also think sometimes you should take a break, but then I worry about that too, because you go away too long, Power Rangers, I would worry if you come back. You can always do reversion seasons again. All right, let's all be showrunners and network executives. What do you think Power Rangers should do? What do you want to see next from them? What would make you happy with Power Rangers in the future? No matter what your level of fandom of Power Rangers is, what do you think they should do for the future? Thank you for listening to all the rambling that I just did just now. I appreciate it. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Bounty 5000. May the power to protect you. And if you really need Power Rangers in your life, there's a bunch of comics I ain't even caught up yet. Go read those. Or go watch Hyperforce. See you at Morphicon!